usually tell this story out loud. When I do, I catch myself whispering, like if I speak too loudly, he might hear me again. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know how it must sound, but when something like that happens to you, when you see someone who should not exist anymore, your mind never really settles again. This happened 8 years ago, but I still remember every moment of that evening, like it's burned into my memory. I live alone in a farmhouse about 10 miles outside a small town in Indiana. Cornfields on 3 sides, a gravel road running past the property, and the nearest neighbor about half a mile away. It's quiet out there, peaceful most of the time. That night, I had driven into town after work to pick up groceries. It was late fall, November, and the sun had already set by the time I left the store. The sky was that deep purple color just before full darkness. I remember pushing the cart through the parking lot when I felt it. That strange feeling of being watched. I looked around casually at first. There were only a few cars scattered around the lot, their headlights glowing in the misty air. And then I saw him. He was standing near the edge of the parking lot, under one of the dim lights, not moving, just watching. At first, I didn't think anything of it. People stand around parking lots all the time. But then he started walking toward me. Slowly, not aggressive, not hurried, just deliberate. I remember thinking he looked familiar, though I couldn't place why. He was about my age, maybe early 40s. Tall, thin. His hair looked darker than I remembered people having at that age, like it hadn't grayed at all. He stopped a few feet from my cart, and he smiled. "Claire," he said. The sound of my name coming from him made my stomach tighten. I stared at him, trying to figure out where I knew him from. "Yeah," I said carefully. His smile widened. "I thought that was you." His voice had a strange softness to it, like he was speaking too gently for a normal conversation. "You remember me?" he asked. I studied his face. There was something about the eyes, a shape to them I recognized, something that stirred an old memory, but I still couldn't place him. "I'm sorry," I said. "I don't think..." "Michael." He said it like it was obvious, and the moment the name left his mouth, my entire body went cold. Michael Hensley. We graduated high school together, and he died that same summer. I know he died. I remember the accident. A drunk driver hit his car on a county road just outside town. The whole school talked about it for weeks. I remember the funeral. I remember standing beside his mother while she cried into a tissue. I remember looking down into a coffin. I remember seeing his face, but now he was standing in front of me, smiling. "You remember now," he said quietly. I must have looked pale because he tilted his head in concern. "You okay?" he asked. My mouth had gone dry. I thought you..." He chuckled softly. "Yeah, people say that. People say that." The way he said it made my skin crawl. I forced myself to laugh nervously. "Well, you look exactly the same," I said. And that was true. Too true. He didn't look 40. He looked 22. Exactly the way he had when we graduated. Same face, same hair, same eyes, the same dark suit he had been buried in. I know how insane that sounds, but I recognized it. I remembered seeing that suit in the coffin. He glanced toward my car. "You still live out on County Road 14?" he asked. My heart skipped. "How do you know that?" "You used to talk about it," he said with a shrug. "Back in school." I didn't remember ever telling him that. Then he stepped back slightly and gestured toward the road. "I was heading that direction," he said. "Mind if I follow you?" we could catch up. Something about the way he said follow you made my stomach twist, but I didn't know how to say no without sounding crazy, so I nodded. Sure. He walked toward a car parked near the edge of the lot. I finished loading my groceries and got into my truck. As I pulled out of the parking lot, his headlights turned on behind me, and he followed. At first, it felt normal enough. Just another car on the road behind me as we left town. But once we passed the last gas station and the streetlights disappeared, something began to feel wrong. Very wrong. His headlights stayed close. Too close. The road stretched into dark farmland on both sides. No houses. No traffic. Just us. I glanced in the rearview mirror. His headlights were steady, centered directly behind my truck. Then he flashed them. Once. Twice. Like he was trying to get my attention. I ignored it, but then I saw something that made my chest tighten. His driver's side window was down, and his arm was hanging out, waving, not like a normal wave, slowly, back and forth, like he was signaling me to stop. I pressed harder on the gas. The road turned onto the long gravel stretch leading to my property. I drove faster than I should have. Gravel sprayed behind my tires, but his headlights stayed right there, right behind me. When my house finally came into view, I felt a small surge of relief. Lights on, front porch glowing, safety. I pulled into the driveway and slammed the truck into park. Before I could even grab my groceries, his car rolled in behind me. The engine shut off and everything went quiet. I stepped out of the truck slowly. He opened his car door. The porch light lit up his face as he stepped toward me, and for the first time that night, his smile was gone. "You remembered," he said softly. My voice shook. "Michael, I went to your funeral." He tilted his head again. "I remember seeing you there." The words made the air feel suddenly colder. "You looked very sad," he continued. I felt my throat tighten. "You were in the coffin," I whispered. He nodded slowly. "Yes." Silence stretched between us. Then he took one step closer. "Never said goodbye," he whispered. Every instinct in my body screamed. I backed toward the porch. "I think you should leave." But he kept walking. Slow. Unhurried. Like he knew I wasn't going anywhere. "You know," he said softly, "I always liked you." My hand found the doorknob behind me. "Please leave." His eyes locked onto mine. "You came to see me that day," he said, "at the funeral." I felt tears in my eyes now. "Yes." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I saw you." I shook my head. "No, you didn't." His smile returned, whiter this time, colder. "I did." Then he took another step forward, and the porch light flickered. Just once, but in that brief dim moment, I saw something I will never forget. His clothes weren't dry. They were dark, soaked, like he had crawled out of muddy water, and across his forehead, there was a long, pale scar, exactly where the newspaper said the windshield glass had cut him during the crash. The porch light brightened again. He was still smiling, still standing there, still looking exactly the way he had in that coffin 20 years earlier. I ran inside and locked the door. I didn't look out the window. Not that night. Not the next morning either. But his car tracks were still in the gravel. 2 long tire marks leading up the driveway. And then, nothing. No tracks leaving. Sometimes late at night, I think I hear footsteps in the gravel outside the house. Slow ones. Patient ones. And sometimes, I hear a man's voice whispering through the dark. Very softly, like he's standing right outside the door. "Claire, waiting for me to come say goodbye.